Way before Persia became the world's first real superpower, another kingdom ruled the highlands of ancient Iran. And their power? Well, it wasn't built from stone. It was built from flesh and bone and this incredible, unbreakable bond. So let's dive into the story of the Medes, history's original horse masters. Now, get this. That's not some Median king bragging about his own people. Nope. That's a tribute, literally carved in stone, from one of their biggest rivals, the Assyrian Emperor Tiglath-Pileser III. This guy was paying a fortune in silver and gold for these animals because he knew, even way back then, that the horses from Media were just legendary. They were like a force of nature. So that's the big question, right? Who were these people? Who were the Medes that they could not only breed these amazing animals, but build their entire civilization around them, inspiring both total awe and, frankly, terror across the ancient world? To really get the Medes, you have to start at the very foundation of their culture. And it wasn't just about raising livestock. For them, a horse was a sacred partner, a soul companion. Think about it. Out there, in those windswept plains and mountains, a horse was never just a tool or some kind of possession. It was seen as part of the rider's own spirit, a living, breathing symbol of divine favor and status. This relationship was the absolute cornerstone of their society and their power. And this commitment, it was for life. It started when a boy was just 5 years old. He and a foal were spiritually bound together in a ceremony. This wasn't just about training, it was a sacred vow. And that bond was so deep that it went beyond death. If a rider died, their horse was laid to rest right beside them, united forever. And just listen to the power in that. That's an invocation a priest would say during that ceremony. May the wind carry you to victory. It just perfectly frames horsemanship not as a skill, but as a divine mission, a true partnership blessed by the gods. Okay, so this spiritual foundation, it translated directly into a terrifying military machine. So terrifying, in fact, that their enemies had a name for them, a name born out of pure fear: demons on horseback. Can you just imagine seeing this on the battlefield? It's not a slow, marching army. It's what Greek historians like Herodotus called a storm of dust and iron. Wow. That phrase just captures the sheer speed, the chaos, and the overwhelming force of a Median cavalry charge. You can see their whole philosophy just by looking at their gear. Everything, the light armor, those powerful composite bows they could fire from a gallop, the long lances for the final push, it was all designed for one thing: mobility. They weren't interested in standing and slugging it out. It was all about speed and precision. And how they used that mobility was totally revolutionary. Their whole strategy was to basically appear like ghosts, hit you with a storm of arrows while moving at full speed, and then just vanish. They'd wear down their opponents, sow confusion, and only when the enemy was broken would they commit to that final, devastating charge with their lances. And that is exactly why the Assyrians, who were a superpower at the time, called them demons on horseback. It wasn't just a cool-sounding nickname, it was a confession. It was them admitting they were helpless. They had no military answer for an enemy that could literally fight like the wind. So what was the living engine behind this incredible military force? Well, it was the horses themselves, meticulously bred, perfected for their purpose. They were known as the children of the wind. See, their dominance on horseback wasn't some happy accident of geography. Oh no, it was the result of incredibly sophisticated, deliberate breeding programs. They basically engineered 2 different types of horses, creating specialized tools for different kinds of war and ceremony. So on one hand, you have the Zagros horse. Think of it like a 4-wheel drive vehicle, stocky, powerful, built for climbing through that steep mountain terrain. And on the other hand, you've got the Ecbatanian horse, tall, lean, and built for pure, blistering speed. These were the children of the wind, the rapid assault force, and, of course, the ultimate symbol of royal prestige. Empires rise and they fall, right? But true innovation, a really good idea, that often outlives them. So what happened to this incredible equestrian system? Well, this is the legacy of the horsemasters. The Median Empire, it did eventually fall, but their knowledge, their horses, their military strategies, none of that was lost. It was absorbed, inherited by the very people who would go on to conquer most of the known world, the Persians. And you can see this direct handoff right through the centuries. The Medes perfect their system, they hit their peak power around 612 BC, Then, just a couple of generations later, Cyrus the Great conquers them, and, this is the crucial part, he adopts their entire cavalry structure. It becomes the engine of his new Persian Empire. And this brings us to a huge connection. You've probably heard of the legendary immortal cavalry, right? The elite heavy cavalry of the Persian Empire? Well, that wasn't a Persian invention. It was a direct evolution of Median horsemanship, Median tactics, and Median breeding. The Medes literally laid the foundation for Persia's military dominance. And here's the proof, straight from one of Persia's greatest emperors, Darius the Great. Carved into a rock face for all time to see, he specifically honors the Median riders. This wasn't just some historical footnote. It was an acknowledgement of a debt. It was him recognizing that the strength of his empire rode on the legacy of the Medes. So when we go looking for the legacy of the Medes today, we don't find these massive, breathtaking ruins like you see in Persia or Egypt. Their power wasn't static, it was dynamic. Their legacy wasn't carved in stone, it was written on the wind. Their true monument, then, is something you can't really see, but you can almost hear it, echoing through history, the thunder of hooves, a testament to a people who conquered with speed, with intelligence, and with that unbreakable bond they had with the horse. You know, the Medes are a great reminder that the most powerful legacies aren't always things we can touch. Sometimes they're ideas or skills or traditions that are just passed down through time. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What other invisible monuments have quietly shaped the world we're living in today?